Hey guys, Justin here. We're going to be playing some Mega Man Legacy Collection today. I'm joined on the couch by editor Matt Espinelli and two guys from Capcom, Ray Jimenez, Brett Elston. Now, of course, you guys didn't make Mega Man.
No, of course not.
So what are your roles on the Mega Man Legacy Collection?
So I'm the producer here in the U.S. that's working on the project. I'm working directly with the dev team over in Emeryville that's making the game for us. And Brett?
Yeah, I'm a community manager for Mega Man, so running like the social media accounts, but also just been helping out playing the game, looking at the challenges, looking at fan feedback all summer, and and today I'm helping demo the game. So.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of Mega Man collections over the years. What is it that is Mega Man Legacy Collection? What's different about this?
It's actually funny that you bring up Mega Man Collection because I actually worked on the one on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, their first Xbox. So, you know, I'm very familiar with what we've done before, and especially how this one is different. This one, the actual. So in essence, it's Mega Man 1 through 6. It's all the original
Mega Man games.
8-bit games. It's the 8-bit legacy that Capcom has. What's really different about this particular collection is that these are striving more for authenticity and reproduction than all the other ones were. The other ones were like, how can we bring our classic game but kind of add some cool things to it that the gamers kind of expect. The core games themselves for us here. Aside from looking extremely sharp due to the, because we can re-output them in HD resolution, we're striving to have everything as authentic as they can be. Everything is going to play the same, every slowdown, everything. Just about everything that you remember should be there. That's definitely our goal. The guys that we're working with, their goal when they approached us with this project is because they had some technology that could do this very quickly and accurately, was to archive our original games because, like, for instance, the PS2 versions, the collection, because it doesn't have it's emulated in a way that's not exactly perfect. There's no original version of our game out there anymore, and we wanted to bring one. They wanted to bring an original version of the NES classics back to now. So now we have this version forever going forward.
So even more so than that PS2 version, playing these games is going to be like plugging in that NES cartridge and.
Yes,
and that experience.
And it's just like really just so we can have an original version sitting somewhere. Actually, I have the.
Yeah. So what kind of options do you have here? It looks like, of course you're going to have a lot of different things you're able to do because you're on better hardware. What kind of extra options are you able to do?
Right. So here we'll put the start off on the default options, and it kind of speaks to how authentic they're trying to make everything. So this is no filter, just straight outputted at an HD resolution. So it's still 8-bit, don't get me wrong, but it's extremely crisp. And this is what's called the original mode. You'll notice that there's black borders on the left and right side as well as the top and bottom. That is so that we can display this in the original NES aspect ratio without any stretching. So everything would be as smooth and as crisp as we can actually display it on the new monitors with all the pixels and such. When you move it up to full, this will take that same aspect ratio but stretch it to fill the top and bottom. So it'll have the same aspect ratio, but there'll be a little bit of stretching, so it may not be ideal for some folks. And then we also have a widescreen, so if you wanted to actually fill both the vertical and the horizontal, you could choose to. I honestly don't like it. It's not the way I play.
Why'd you put it in the game?
Well, because we know that there will be users that want that. So we felt that there were some visual conceits that we're willing to do that are still within the realm of authentic play, but.
Whereas if you go in and start trying to like make the game actually display more, like it starts breaking how the game was put together. Where a lot of Mega Man is a square room and a square room and a square room. And if you were actually going to like redraw it to fill that, it becomes like a very different experience.
And what is it like recreating a game that some of the reasons that we remember it being kind of maybe janky or having problems was because of limitations on the hardware, but when you don't have those limitations, how do you recreate that? So things disappearing or the way that...
Yeah, so that's actually kind of an interesting comment that you brought up. So we're not actually recreating it. We're using the original assets in the game.
Okay.
So the method that we're doing here actually maybe we should play. I'm having trouble
Okay.
talking.
Yeah, this is a hard game to play and talk at the same time.
So when you say like it's like the NES, it means but better than playing it on the NES.
Yeah, so actually particular question, comment about the hardware limitations. So there's two kinds of slowdown in the game. There's slowdown that happened just because the NES was not a super powerful piece of machine, but then also there's most of the slowdown was actually programmatically put into the game, and it said that if you're playing on the game and this many enemies on the screen, the game itself will slow down. Now that is still in the game. We have preserved that in there, and but the slowdown that's created by the hardware is gone, of course, because we're not on the original hardware. And I've seen a lot of requests like, oh, you should take it out, or there should be an option to take it out. One of the things that we're doing is that the technique that the developer is using in order to make everything very authentic and do this really quickly, or not quickly and accurately, limits us from being able to really dig in changing this kind of programming. So we can't really take out the slowdown in the flicker without changing how we're creating the game itself, and how we're creating the game makes it accurate. So in the philosophy of making everything as accurate and authentic to NES as we can,
Trying to get greedy.
we've decided that we're just going to keep a hard line and make everything original that we can.
So what was your favorite game to work on? I mean, we all have different points, I think, where we came in and like what our first Mega Man game was.
Right.
Like mine was, of course, the first Mega Man. Well, what was your favorite one to work on? Which one was the most?
I think, and it's not really the most popular ones, but I really like 5.
5. Oh,
Five's a good time.
Oh yeah, you like 5?
That's where I started.
Why 5?
I like 5. It kind of hit that bridge of where people were really getting comfortable with the NES and were able to do like some things that you wouldn't believe are still 8-bit, but it looked almost 16-bit. So it was really cool. That was my personal thing. I really liked that. And I like that Crash Man. Not Crash Man. The Charge Man.
Charge Man.
I like Charge Man. I don't know why. He's a train head. And
Speaking of which, I can actually jump into 5 really quick.
Oh yeah.
So this is something I liked about comparing even to the 2004 collection. Like this, the in and out speed of getting in between each game is like
Super quick. Yeah, it's real quick.
faster than you could change the cart. Like it's basically like effectively
really
no
detailed.
loading. It's like you're in and out really quick.
And so, looking at the games, what drove the decision to only put titles 1 through 6 instead of something that's more comprehensive of Mega Man?
Yeah. So the developer we're working with, as I mentioned, they had this really cool tech that was really good at quickly and accurately reproducing
Jeez.
NES games. But the thing is, it's only on the NES. So what they have doesn't work for the SNES or the PlayStation at this moment. So we couldn't really do all of them. So our focus right now is the NES classics. I mean, in a way that this title could be more accurately called our 8-bit legacy, as opposed to the Mega Man legacy, because we're really sticking to the true 8-bit games itself.
Is there any plans, or do you guys see this as something that you would expand within this game, or if we were going to see another collection of the other Mega Man games, would that come as a separate title?
We really haven't figured out how where we go from here. If we're going to leverage what the developer is able to do, we would probably move on to more NES games first before we do anything else. I mean, that all depends on. We believe there's a market for and a want for the preservation of our old games, and not just to have the 8-bit games, but to have them exactly like as we had it before. But that being said, we're not just giving you the game themselves. We did add a lot of content to this particular game. And actually, one really cool thing because I had mentioned I really like Charge Man, and if I'll take this from you. So when you go to Mega Man 5, you can go to the database, and this actually you can probably talk about where all this text came from.
So a lot of this text, I guess, this was the first time this was like officially localized. These enemy descriptions was it from those PS1?
It's from the PS1 Rockman
Yeah.
Complete Works.
Yeah, so this is the first time we've like officially brought that text over. And as you move through the database, you can see like not just the production art and the names for all these enemies, but also in the corner there on the left, you can see the ideal weapon to use against them, a weakness, napalm, bomb from Napalm Man. You have to learn the icons, but
Yeah.
but the real like attraction here is when you scroll through, you'll eventually get to the Robot Masters, the 8 bosses of the game. And the cool thing about the database is you can just jump right in from here
Where's
and
Crash Man?
practice.
Charge Man, sorry.
Yeah, and practice.
So
Oh yeah, so you see fight on the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah.
yeah, so I see that he's weak to whatever the round thing.
that is the Power Stone,
Power Stone.
from Stone Man.
So yeah.
So when you go in here to practice,
go
though,
right into it.
does it automatically give you the thing that he's weak against, or
I have
do you
everything.
have everything?
Oh wow, you
Yeah.
So you can basically learn his attack pattern before you have to try to fight him. So you don't have to go through the whole game and try to figure out his attack pattern. Was this the right one? I don't seem to be doing anything.
You can only hurt him when he's like still, basically. Like,
I know that it's
if he's angry red, it won't hurt him, and then I think when he's even,
Let's try that again. Actually, you gonna need him.
you get the
Let's try
you
it.
get a fun jingle when you lose. But this is a way for like for me, like the thing I like the most about all these games were the bosses, and they're all the learning the patterns, learning the weapons to use against them. But for new players, it might be kind of frustrating. Like if it's been 20 years since you played these, or maybe never, this is a good way to like, okay, well, let me get this guy down, and then I'll jump in the game and do it for real.
This has been way too.
Because since these are like 80s, 90s games, you get like 3 tries, then you got to continue and start back to the beginning of the level.
Right.
So
I haven't played this in years, but
it's a challenge, but it's one of those games. Like all 6 of them are really good about like teaching you things in a safe environment and then testing you more and more and more. So it's not hard in just like an unfair punishing way. It's hard in like a pay attention and get better kind of way.
And the game also introduces some save states, which I think are popular among horrible players like myself.
I don't know. Yeah, you can save and then load kind of on the fly, and in the same pause menu as the filters and stuff. But it's more for folks who like just want to see the whole game, like.
Or you're playing and you got to go somewhere and you don't
Yeah,
want I don't want to turn it off.
So is that individual to each game? Like, say, if I was playing Mega Man 2, could I set a save state for that and then go play another Mega Man game, come back to Mega Man 2?
Yes,
where
we
I was at?
have one per game.
Okay.
I personally, I think it takes away from it. When I like to play, I try not to use it unless I have to get up and leave somewhere. But we know that users would want it. It's something we were able to do. Actually, one cool thing that we didn't show here is a museum, which is Brett had mentioned production art, which as it sounds, it's like a lot of art that was created during the production of the game itself. In addition to that, we do have these cool character files, which are, say, like if we wanted to, a company wanted to make a beat, we would send them a sheet, kind of give them all the colors and give them a turnaround, and these are like the official licensing sheets for each character.
Which are cool, because a lot of those characters you never see the back. So a lot of the boss, like Robot Master designs, you see like, oh, I didn't know they had like vents and...
Yeah, some pretty cool old stuff we were able to find, and the developer actually had gone out to museums to find, because we may have these, but we don't have them in a high quality scan, because we scanned them back in the 80s, so it's not that great DPI, but they went out and went to museums and found these actual ads and scanned them in these huge format. Some of these files are 500 megabytes, a gigabyte for an image of a scan from a magazine. So these are really cool. So all the games that we have these kinds of things for, you're able to find like some cool content that way as well.
And going back to the boss battle, being able to go through the different boss robots, does that include the Dr. Wily's end-game creations as well? When you're going against Wily and you have the mini-bosses?
Oh no, we were only doing for the Robot Masters. Okay. That was actually kind of a challenge. We wanted to include so we have the Robot Masters here, but then for this particular game, like there's Taco Trash and Metal Daddy. There were weird... So we have a lot of limitations of what we could do in the game, because since the game is kind of running in its own little module, we can't detect everything that's going on. So we actually had a really hard time determining when you finished fighting, when you finished fighting Taco Trash. The game didn't really say, oh, you were done now, so this is when that's over. So we could only really keep that to the Robot Masters. But is that absolutely something we were thinking about?
And the release setup for this is a little bit different than some others. There's going to be a digital release, and coming after that is the physical release. How is that rolling out? Exactly.
So the digital one for Xbox One, PS4, and PC, digital launches August 25th. Those hit first. And then afterwards, we have a 3DS version in the winter, accompanied by a digital 3DS version, accompanied by physical versions of PS4, Xbox One, and 3DS in early 2016. So basically digital first, and then discs come a little later. But
is the 3DS version going to have the same feature set, like everything that's included on the PS4, Xbox One as well, or will that be dialed down a little bit?
I believe the exact same game, like features, gameplay, like the challenge mode, like we're doing here, the museum, all that stuff.
Oh, if you can talk about I kind of just
Jumped into this. So what is the?
So yeah, the challenge mode will take like little scenes from. It'll give you a theme at the beginning, like this is a Mega Man 2 test and a Mega Man 1 and 2 mashup.
Kind of like an NES remix. Style.
Sort of like that, yeah. Only this is rather than taking here's some sprites from 6 that are now fighting you in Mega Man 2 and are playing 4 with no slide or something like that. It's more like these sequences that are now put together to challenge experienced players in a way that So even as someone who knows scene by scene where I'm at and what I'm doing in a given second of a Mega Man game, some of these you're not used to going through this section of Airman and then you blink and now all of a sudden you're you're in Wily 2 of Mega Man 1. You're like, wait, what? Or wherever you go. So now you're in Woodman stage, yeah. But some of the there
was a really cool thing I watched one of the speedrunners do. Sorry, and I totally messed it up. But it was a super quick way to bypass this. It was. It's just one of the cool things about this mode is that we're able to provide replays with any of the fast times that we have here. Mm-hmm. So if I get a good time, you can not only watch your replay locally, but if they're attached to the leaderboard, so you can kind of watch how some of the best speedrunners in the game are actually going to get through these challenges.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this challenge was like a Mega Man 2 test. We're gonna bounce you around Mega Man 2. But then there's also we're gonna take pieces of 1 and 2, and then you'll have to remember certain abilities or weapons that you have in this scene, like the magnet beam. Remembering that you even have the magnet beam in 1 and can save a ton of time. But then later you'll mix 3 and 4 or 2 or 1 through 6, and you have to remember moment to moment. Okay, I have a slide now. Okay, now I don't have the slide. Okay, I have a charging buster. Now I don't have a charging buster. So some of it is it comes so fast that you're have to ricochet your mind around a lot, but that's why it'll be really fun to watch those leaderboards and some of those the video replays to see how people deal with it, because there should be some pretty creative solutions to these challenges.
Yeah, picking the right time to use the flash stopper in order to get through that particular section.
Yeah, and 'cause that's an instance where, well, yeah, I guess it is Wily. So I was thinking Metal Man stage, but that's an example of if it was Metal Man stage, which is a similar scenario with the drills, I would normally have Flashman's weapon there because I would have maybe gone to Metal Man first usually to get the Metal Blade.
It's definitely something more aimed at the hardcore, the people who know this game backwards and front.
Yeah. That is one of the decisions that we came with. It's we could determine we could only give you a particular weapon to give you a particular challenge of getting to this area with a weapon, but I think we found that if we gave everybody everything, then you could be more creative in how you get through the level. Give more options.
That's one of my favorites is the Quick Man beam section. Just how fast, basically as soon as it starts, the second portion of it, if you're not already holding left, you're dead. And it's just it'll show up in the middle of a long sequence, and then you're okay, what's next? Oh, God. You have just enough time to cuss out loud, and then you're dead. But when you die, you don't have. It's not like it boots you back out, and you got to do the whole thing over from scratch. It's more a time test, so it'll start you right back at the part of the challenge you were in.
So, what drove the decision to bring this back now? Why go after the original Mega Man legacy, the 1 through 6 games?
So the actual onus was when the developer came to us, said, "Hey, we've been working on this technology, and I've actually worked with them before on other titles, the Capcom Classics Collection, which was our arcade games." They had come to us and said, "Hey, we've been working. We're finalizing this really cool technology that we're able to, accurately reproduce NES games. Let's talk and see what we can do." So we discussed, we explored our particular library and what would be a cool set to do. And obviously Mega Man was just kind of it made sense. It's let's do all of our Mega Man games, and then and then from there, you know, we can see what we do from there. But the Mega Man as a package was just more attractive to internally and externally. It's like, well, if we were gonna do, if for whatever reason we only did one pack of these NES games, what would people want to see? And Mega Man absolutely, you know, everyone still likes Mega Man inside and outside of Capcom, and you know, we wanted to see a new one. So a new collection coming. So this is how we kind of decided to do Mega Man. But it was absolutely the developer coming to us and saying, hey, we got this really cool way to do it. I mean, you typically don't see a whole lot of until, you know, super recently, a whole lot of NES games ported. It's normally not a very cost-effective thing to do. Porting can be expensive, and doing an NES game can be expensive as well. So,
well, and I think part of that is also we see so many indie games that take this same style. That it's no longer like 8-bit. This is what some modern games look like, the way people are making them. And it's interesting because Capcom also has a huge library of NES games from that time. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
The possibilities for some other fun collections, I think, could be exciting for Capcom fans.
Right. And you know, we believe that, you know, the same fans that would want to play Mega Man would want to see other things in the future too. So, I hope we can prove all of our bosses right and say, you know, like I know we want to do Mega Man first. And look how popular this is going to be.
So when you have that leaderboard there, how do you show up? Like, is it friends based? Is it locally on the console, or is there a
So
like a Capcom leaderboard?
Yeah, we can't show it here because we're not connected. But but when you go to leaderboard, it would just show you the best times, you know, from 1 to whatever. You can sort by your friends. You can sort by your own score. And I believe it's the top 100 will have a replay attached to it, so you can watch any of those guys. But it's all
top 100 of all time, or
top 100 of all time. Yeah.
So this is actually a replay of I think one of our someone we were demoing the game for, and they were giving it a run through. And I think this might be the demo where I was explaining that the pause glitch, you know, exploit still works in this version, or this might be one where they do not succeed.
Oh, they do. They're trying,
Maybe.
but they're gonna get shot.
Okay, so here we go. So, famously in Mega Man 1, the elect beam is like a great silly weapon that each time you unpause, it resets the damage, and you can, as long as its hitbox is still overlapping a target, you can just cheese pretty much in it, and then there you go.
Were there any other intentional glitches that you kept in the game like that?
So, every glitch and cheat that we can is in there, that we know of. With one exception that may or may not make it in there. It's just because it's kind of weird and hard to do. Now, was it Mega Man 3?
Yeah.
Mega Man 3, if you put in a second controller and hit right on the D-pad, you could get a super jump from Mega Man. Controllers are handled way differently on modern consoles now. So we've been trying on it. Last I heard it was in it, but I haven't seen it myself, so that's why I'm hesitant to say that it definitely did in there. But it's something that we're aware of. But everything else that we are aware of is working, because the way it's developed is that technically it should be there, and everything we've been able to confirm. Like Brett was saying that he was able to reproduce a zip, which is basically you do this weird glitch and then you're zipped over to another section of the game. It's something I've never done before, but he's able to reproduce it. I've seen people at Comic-Con do them, so I know they're in there. But in theory, without us having been able to confirm every single one, just because through lack of skill or knowledge, the way it's developed, that they should all be there naturally.
I mean, that's a lot harder to try to keep glitches in than try to take them out.
Well, we're not actually programming them in. They just should naturally be there. And from what we've seen, they have all been there. There's just that one controller one is the one kind of iffy thing, because it's dependent on how new consoles work, and which, I mean, I remember the days working on just even as you know, PS2, when you just had Control 1 and Control 2, and now, but now there's all these profiles and signing in and signing out, and it makes things so complicated. I kind of miss just plugging in a controller and then you have it. Proto Man. Yeah. Brett's really good at Proto Man. He's got that jump timing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, slide.
So,
amount of skill and patience.
will this also be I would assume a little bit cheaper, not a full price game, or?
Oh yes, yeah. We're selling it for $15 on the digital version.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's very reasonably priced. Oh, show them a filter. You haven't shown me any filters yet.
Oh
too.
yeah, so that's the wrong button. So we have TV, which is more approximating like an old like CRT that's like really giving up the ghost.
Yeah, it's
a lot of
like-
blur, like the colors are like breaking the borders, or like just super fuzzy.
Yeah, and actually, I noticed too recently if you stand still with Mega Man, and I don't know if this is intentional because there was a guy at the developer that's been working really hard on that filter. If he stands still, you'll see kind of like a pixel flicker on and off on him. I don't know. It's very like you put a lot of effort into making him look right. I think over by his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a pixel flickering, and
yeah.
he's kind of and he's also fringed left and right, kind of giving a ghost image.
Yeah, the ghosting is like my favorite part of this. It just reminds me of like playing old arcade games on a monitor or TV. That's like, you guys really should replace this.
And we do also have another filter that's it's the same thing, but we're taking away the CRT-ness of it. So the scan lines are there as if you were playing more on an arcade. That wasn't so terrible. So, or if you were playing for those that played on different screens, yeah. But that still had pixels. So the scan lines are there, but the blurring is gone.
It's very cool. It's definitely very reminiscent of me being a kid and playing this on my terrible TV.
Right.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, having all these memories of playing NES back in the day and how fuzzy it really was. Like, trying to, like, really remember, like, because in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, it was crystal clear. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, man, I bet it was a mess. Because when I think about, like, playing my old Game Boy, like, I'm like, oh yeah, it was fine. And then I'm like, oh man, it was tough.
And once you successfully get past this, I think one of the other features you guys had was also a sound test mode, like being able to go through all of the music for the games and the titles. How does that work? Is it only within the game? Is it something where you'd be able to maybe shut it off and just like play in the background? Like
So yeah, so it's accessible from the main menu, and you can. It's all split up by the different 6 games, and then all the tracks are there. And it's actually really cool, is because we're not playing WAV files, we're not playing MP3s. We're actually, when you select title track for Mega Man 3, in the background the game is booting up and playing that track from the actual game itself. You just don't see the picture. So Brett has a really awesome technique for this that I cannot do that. It seems easy.
It's like every time I'm like, oh, this is super easy, and it's like if you get like 1 second off, it's just like he just wails on you.
Yeah, because once you get into hit stun, you're all messed up. But yeah, so that's actually really cool. So you're listening to a music player that's just basically playing the game without a picture for you. I thought that was really cool. And some people may ask, well, why would you just want to do that? It basically, it was a way for us to not have to find a music player to put in the game. So then we're using the game assets itself. Because, I mean, everything, if you want to show movies, you got to put a movie player. You know, a lot of people see that Bink logo because that's a video player. Same thing for sound. You know, if you wanted to play music, an MP3 or WAV file, you would have to either develop your own music player or license one. And you know, we just wanted to keep things economical for the developer. And this was totally their idea, and they're just like, oh, we'll just play the game without a picture.
Oh man, he is ready to fight here.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys too. Once you get kind of on tilt on him, you kind of.
Well, sometimes he'll just like hang all the way over on the right, and the other times he's like, nope, I'm coming right for you. I guess we should actually up out of that and go to that music player since we just talked about it. But yeah, 1 through 6. Man, what's a good one? Stone Man's pretty good.
Yeah.
So is it just gonna like loop through? Like if you just hit enter, it's just gonna loop through them and keep playing? Or
it'll play from front to back. The way the games work is, I think there's a little problems kind of trying to loop it back and forth between the different asset tracks. So it'll play one at a time. You would have to start it again.
And one thing I think I've seen on some other 3DS games is the ability to like plug in headphones, turn on the music player, shut the case, and like, is that something that you guys are working on, or is that still a little bit early?
That's not a bad idea. You know, we're still working on it. So, that's something. I mean, since that is going later, that's not a bad idea. Thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a really cool feature. It's like turn on the music player, and it's like having an MP3 player, but for the video game music.
Right.
I can't remember which title that was though.
Yep.
That is definitely something I will consider. I like that. Yeah, it was something that we couldn't do for this particular game. I mean, we absolutely wanted to make it as robust as we can, but you know, since we're still working on the 3DS, since it's not released until later, that's something we can think about doing.
Well, hopefully that is a feature we'll get to see, but people are going to be able to play this pretty soon. Next month, like you said, August 15th?
25th.
25th?
So, coming very soon.
It's got to be also pretty exciting that you're going to be able to get this out of the way, get it out there, and then we'll focus on the really hard part, the physical ones. So really exciting. Thanks so much for coming by, showing us the Mega Man Legacy Collection, Mega Man's 1 through 6, coming August 25th, and really exciting stuff. Nothing super new. It's games we know before, but being able to experience them in, I think, the ways that we did when we were kids, and for people that weren't alive then, getting to see what it was like being a kid back in the 80s and 90s. So really exciting stuff. Thanks so much for joining us. It was Ray Jimenez, Brett Elston, and Matt Espinelli. Thanks so much.
Thank you.